Hello, hello. So, I I'm just going to monologue here for a little bit. I just went live because it's easier, um, and I'm sorry if the audio is bad. So, I just wanted to just get it off my chest about just how I'm feeling with like current events, and so it's probably just going to be a little bit of a story time. But today is it's March 8th. It's 06:14 in the morning, and I am driving up to do my reservist drill. It's my last day of the drill weekend. And so I'm going to take you back a couple days ago when I was driving up, and I was thinking to myself, what do I wonder what our leaders are going to be saying to us about what's happened, where we are, what's going on with Iran. And nobody said anything. Everybody just, as far as leadership goes, we got to see some awards given out at our, big muster, and that was nice. It's nice to see some of my fellow brothers and sisters recognized for their efforts and their hard work. That being a reservist is like, oof, that's a whole different beast that people just don't talk about. I'll tell you that. And I was active duty for 14 years before I switched over to the reserves. And, though my career has never been easy, I've always been in the medical field my whole entire career. I've always been, by trade, what we would call a field medical technician in the hospital corps. And I just want to say something. I believe with everything in my heart that people have the right to believe and support whatever they think is best for our country. That I am not. That's not what this live is about. I'm going to do my best. I have my own personal feelings, but I'm really trying to remove that because I'm afraid that my message might be lost if I insert those. And if I'm human, I'm flawed. Please, if I oh hi Stephanie. I am not paying attention to chat. I didn't expect anybody to pop in, but um, hopefully, if you stick around, maybe I give you words that resonate with you. Probably not. This is probably going to be something that only resonates with very niche audience. But you are more than welcome to stay. And thank you for being here with me, because Lord knows I have never felt more alone in my life as I do today. Anyway, not here to cry about it. I just feel emotionally overwhelmed at times and confused. Felt really confused about a lot of things. I don't really know what. Let me just compose myself. At this time in my life, when I'm looking for updates on anything that is happening with Iran, I never seem to be able to find anything that I can trust to be 100% the truth. Um, it would seem I've lost my ability to discern. I'm sure I'll find it again. But hi, Quincy. So, let me refocus here. Leadership never had anything to say to us. As a matter of fact, people pretended like it was just any normal day, as a naval reservist. I have my own personal feelings about that. I think if you're going to hold a position um, so powerful to, so many sailors and Marines, that you should have the ability to say something. But maybe, it is very, very likely that, the leadership is getting orders, to keep the mouth shut for now. And, I get it. So, naturally, the collective is going to follow the example of the leadership, and any questions or discussion or anything that I have heard from my junior sailors has been whispers and quick discussion of, do you know anything? Have you heard anything? No, I haven't heard anything, blah, blah, blah. So, and again, I apologize if I'm all over the place. Anyway, I follow leadership's, example, and, I'm just really just trying to just keep it together, I understand that I'm sure other people are feeling the same way as I do, which is, there's a couple dynamics I've observed lately, and that is like, rah, 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 let's go get some, let me get my boots on the ground over there. And great, like, you see that from a lot of juniors, and you do see that a lot in, my particular job in the Navy, and it's, close alignment to the Marine Corps. Whatever, not my business. My job is, just to like be the leader for my people, take care of my junior sailors, take care of any sailor that is within my charge, and to also take care of any Marine that's within my charge, within my ability to care for. So I do that. and I finish up, my patient care for the day. And where I like set to do a lot of like my admin stuff that I need to take care of each drill day is like really close to where chaplain sits. Our chaplain has an office, and like my little desk area is like right outside that office, right? um anyway, like 2 days ago, uh we break from chow. I work through chow. I break out to go to the restroom, and I come back, and like there's one of my sailors and chaps hanging out talking, and like I know that it's like okay for me to overhear the conversation, or else like if it wasn't, like chaps would have moved, you know, the sailor into the office, and had the discussion behind closed doors, right? So like they're not talking about anything that I can't overhear, that I shouldn't overhear. And like I hear my sailor say to chaps, I don't know how I feel about what's happening overseas. And it's one thing is very important for a lot of people to know that maybe isn't like super common knowledge, is that those who serve in the military do not have the same constitutional rights in the context that the average American citizen does, right? Like, I can't get up on any kind of social media platform or anything and have a strong opinion that, like, for example, goes against our commander in chief or goes against our current administration. So, like, I can maybe make some generic uh, statement or whatever, but like, especially now in these times, people are really kind of knee jerk with how those things are handled, and things can like really, like, a sailor or a marine or an airman or a soldier or a guardian can get, you know, on the social media and say something like, man, fuck this, I don't want to deploy again, blah, blah, blah. Right. And like, if for some reason, like, that goes viral or gets like reported up to the chain of command or whatever, like something like as generic as that, like, has the potential, I'm not saying it will for certain, but it has the potential to cause issues for, a like pretty generic statement. And I mean, like, keep it real, been on a few deployments, and like it's not like it's a super fun time, like, especially if you've got a family. My God. First time I deployed, one of my children was like a little over a year old. And I remember just like sometimes like the feeling of like being awake. I dropped for a little bit. I am so sorry. Um, I don't know where I dropped off, but what I can tell you is where I was talking was I was talking about like deployments, and they're not really fun, right? So if you know a service member got on the social media and said, "Man, fuck this, I don't want to deploy again," and for some reason that went viral and like made it to the like chain of command or whatever, like that's a potential to like really cause an issue for the the whoever it was, right? Like you need to see like a generic statement that a lot of service members would feel, especially if they've like deployed again and again and again and again, and they have a family. Like, yeah, now does it serve them to like get on social media and be like, fuck this shit? I might drop again. Actually, it looks like my service is like going down. Anyway, I'll be back on if I do. What I'm saying is like, we don't really have the same rights um, that are upheld by the Constitution of the United States of America as like the average American citizen does. And, like that's a sacrifice that I make. Um, and that I'm happy to make. If it gives me the ability to, serve our country and, you know, protect the rights of the American citizens that are upheld by the Constitution of the United States of America. And I love my countrymen. I do. I love my brothers and sisters that I share this country with, where regardless of whether we agree on things or not. Um, we don't have the ability to really have any kind of opinion on the current administration. I mean, we can have it. I'm sorry, I misspoke. We can have our opinions. We can't vocalize those, especially not on a public platform. And I'm not here to say, um, I'm not here to give my opinion on the current administration and how you feel about the current administration. I support you because I genuinely believe that American citizens, the majority of them, just want what's best for the country. Unfortunately, what people want and what people think about being the best for the country is typically based on your lived experience in your demographic area, like, or your geographical area and the demographics within that area. So it seems there's really not a one size fits all here thing. Um, anyway, I'm just gonna lock in and just talk to you guys. So a couple days ago, right, my sailor's talking to chaps. can overhear. It's okay that I can overhear. Um, and he's talking about how he's not sure how to feel about the current events. Um, he's felt really conflicted about things for a long time. It's really weighing heavy on his heart. Um, Sorry, my stream keeps getting dropped, but everything's been weighing really heavy on his heart, right? And he's just needing somebody to talk to, and it makes sense that he would go to Chaps because if he's gonna say anything like it's a risk for like a junior sailor to like approach the leadership and say like, I'm feeling some sort of way because like humans aren't perfect. Um, a lot of times we don't give each other the grace that we would like ourselves to be afforded. And we, you know, we make missteps, right? But it's imperative, right? If you are a leader in the military of any type, whether you're a unit leader, like myself, or you lead a command, right? It's imperative that you guide, that you listen actively, that you give grace. If you feel like your junior is saying something that you think might get them in trouble should they start spreading that sentiment, then, like kindly provide them guidance and empathy. Like I understand how you can feel that way. I do. Please, you know, to make sure that you stay protected and safe, please be careful with, where you express this sentiment, right? And that's just how I personally do it. Um, but he's talking to Chaps about how he's worried about, you know, his and, our Marines' boots being put on the ground in Iran, and how it just feels so uncertain, and it just feels very whiplashy, and it's very anxiety inducing. And the hardest part for him to reconcile with is, what is his daughter going to think of him when she gets older? And she learns about these times in American history and world history. What is she going to think? And of course, like, Chaps he can't offer any type of like political stance or anything. He's really there to just let people get things off the chest, and give them a safe forum. If they're not going to hurt themselves, they're not going to hurt somebody else, then they're free to really, express the things that are weighing on their heart, and they'll keep your confidence. So he's in a safe place, and obviously he feels like I can be privy to this conversation. He's not worried about anything I'm going to overhear, which makes me feel good. So it lets me know I'm hitting the mark. He does feel safe around me. So that's at least one person he's not worried about, and I can assure you he is not going to have to worry about that with me. I will always keep my sailors safe, and I will always keep my Marines safe in any capacity. So they have a little bit of a conversation. I'm trying to drown it out because I do want him to have privacy, obviously. Um, but I'm trying to finish up some stuff I need to take care of. So anyway, making America safer, Donald Trump. Hi, hello. Welcome. So he wraps up with chaps and he's like going to walk away. And I can tell that like he still feels some sort of way. I can see it on his face. I can see it in the way he's carrying himself as this is weighing really heavy on him. So I asked him if he would sit with me for a moment, and he said, "Yeah, absolutely." So he sits down, and I said, I'm sorry that I, overheard. Um, I'm glad that I did because I know that I'm not alone in how I feel today because I have 3 daughters, and I worry about what will they be proud of me? Will I be the example that they deserve? Am I handling every move that I make in real time with deliberate caution and care and consideration? I told him that, if there's anything that I can say to you that I have come to the conclusion myself is should you, myself, and our Marines ever find our boots on the ground in Iran, and God, I hope that doesn't happen, but should it come to that, it's imperative for your family and your friends to know exactly what it is that you do as a service to this country. And I want to start by the very basic of what it means when we sign that dotted line, where we're we've taken an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And we have our own oath as, sailors, you know, and a part of that is I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. Like, everything that we do is surrounded protecting that Constitution, what it means to our countrymen, the rights that it provides them, the safety and protection that it provides them, and maybe it doesn't mean shit to everybody these days. Fine, I still believe in it. I am a patriot through and through. But I told him, I was like, that's one of the first things that they need to know about what it is that you do. I was like, the second, and arguably one of the most important parts, is that we're dogs. We take care of Marines. We keep them in the fight. I I struggle with this, you know, recounting this event, because it is heartbreaking. But I told him that no matter what you believe or what you don't believe in, the one thing that is true and real is that the only the only enemy that you and I and others who do what we do have to fight is death himself. It's like, and by doing so, you are protecting and caring for American citizens. You are preserving life and a semblance of prosperity for them. Because Marines are United States citizens, and their families are United States citizens. So the only enemy that you need to prepare to fight is death. And our current mission in real time is to ensure that all sailors and Marines within our care are worldwide deployable at all times. That's just a standard. That's not anything new. We make sure that they are healthy and fit and medically ready and worldwide deployable, that they're not going to be in a situation on a deployment where they can, they're not, let's see here, America will be America before and after Trump. Who cares? Okay, I don't, maybe you're talking, you might be talking to somebody else. Anyway, I'm trying not to pay attention to the chat because this is not about me expressing my political opinion, right? It's about trying to keep my juniors grounded in what reality is, keep them focused. But I told him that you train, you prepare, you're a hell of a dog. You'll take good care of your Marines, and you know that they will keep you safe. They will do everything they can to keep you safe. If you do everything you can to stand between them and death. And if death, for some reason, gets its motherfucking claws into that Marine, pull out every stop you can to bring them back. They might be thinking, oh, I've arrived at the pearly gates, because I believe all Marines go to heaven, bruh. And then here comes Doc's hand right on the shoulder to rip them back away from the pearly gates into our earthly realm, saying, no, not today. Not today, brother. That's your enemy. I said, and guess what? That enemy is there coming for every citizen. There. Iranians, Marines, women, soldiers. About 10 miles. Keep her. So there will be Iranians brought to you if it goes down anything like Iraq or Afghanistan. you'd be fighting death off of them too. Because that's what you do. That's what we do. We are not so careless, regardless of what others think or believe or been told. We subscribe to the idea of letting anybody in our care succumb without doing everything we can. Now, granted, there's some hard decisions that are made. We have to triage. We have limited supplies most of the time. Sometimes wounds are so bad that there's nothing that can be done. It's unfortunate, but it does happen. And as we're talking, I tell him, if for some reason you were there and death decides to set his sights on you and he is successful, I don't think that that's a legacy that any child, as they grow older, will ever be ashamed of. Not of you. And I hope that you take solace in that. Admittedly, I will say that I think that a lot of us who are in the profession of field medicine in a combat environment or second echelon of care, you'll have your battalion aid stations, those kind of things, second echelon of care, I would think as far as being able to hone in and really focus on something, we have it much easier on the conscience. At least where I stand. When everything first happened, I remember thinking to myself, I don't think that this falls under the things that I signed up for. This doesn't feel right. And if I'm sent over there, I don't think that I'm going to be coming back. And that I don't want to leave my baby. I don't want to leave my babies. And I've never felt more alone. I don't think I would have struggled as hard with this if I had been back in active duty. We would have leaned on each other and we would have processed things together. We would have built each other up or kept each other grounded. I miss my brothers and sisters on active duty. I just wish that I had had that camaraderie, but I'm very happy to be, with people who are maybe feeling the same way that I do this weekend and sharing the time. I will say though, like, I don't say this with any arrogance. I only say this with relief. But during this conversation, I saw that the things that I was saying to my junior were resonating deeply with him, and that they made sense to him, and that things were clicking into place, and he was starting to feel more grounded. And he took solace in the fact that I am right on what our actual mission is and what it is that we need to be doing right now. And that should it come to that, of going over there, and we're not able to make it back, that we did not stray from, what we truly believe in, and our love for our Marines. I know that there's really probably, I don't know what the relatability is. I don't know if anything that I have to say resonates with anybody here. And if you can't relate, I love that for you. And I don't say that with any spite or resentment. Like, if you don't have any relatability to the fear and anxiety and confusion that some of us who serve this country have, good. Keep moving forward. Keep doing everything you can to live your best life. Know that we've got the watch. And just know that, like, there are people who serve in these ranks who are ready to lay everything on the line to make sure that your loved ones come home. To ensure that by coming home, your heart and your ability to go forth and prosper are preserved. And there was one thing that I left him with. I told him that, up until now, I've really ensured not to insert my personal opinion. It's like everything that I have told you up to this point is fact. Is a fact that your enemy is death. Is a fact that death is who you're over there to fight. You're not there to fight any Iranians. For you. It is a fact that we need to focus on our mission as it stands today, which is to ensure that sailors and Marines are worldwide deployable, and that we need to be training, honing our skills, taking every opportunity we can to be better. It's like, but one opinion that I want to insert is that I think when things are so confusing for so many of us, and it's hard to know what the truth is, I think the answer is to cling to whatever higher power that you believe in. If you believe in God, get in the scripture. That's the truth. If you believe in God, from your perception, His word is the truth. So cling to that. That's the only thing that is 100% true. If you're Muslim, cling to the Quran. Stay in that. Develop a close relationship with your higher power. Whoever you believe you make it to be. Cling to them. That's the only thing that I can do to keep myself grounded at this time when everything just seems convoluted and it just feels like nothing makes sense. Words don't mean the same thing that they did, that they're listed in Webster's dictionary. Are we at war? Are we not at war? If you're asking the Iranians, they're at war. It may feel like the Israelis are saying that they're at war. The United States is like, nah, we're not at war. There was a school of children that were innocent lives gone. Do that on American soil, that's an act of war right there. I don't know. It's not my business, I guess. Anyway. If you've spent the past however long with me and whatever, thank you. Uh, if you feel like you want to comment on this later, by all means. I only ask that, you don't bring any war or covert operations or whatever to my comment section, okay? I don't want any of that shit on my page. Just be kind, okay? And if I gave any of my information away and someone decides to dox me, fuck you. Anyway, if anything that I said here provided you comfort, or if it resonated, or you think that it would resonate with somebody that you know who serves, You know, you don't have to send them this video, you know, but you could definitely paraphrase my sentiments to them. Because I don't care about the views. It's not what this is about. I honestly just wanted to get shit off of my chest. Because it just feels so heavy. You know, so you can take credit for it. If it resonates deeply and you find it powerful, whatever, fucking take credit for it. I don't care. Just, it gives comfort. It gives comfort. I'm tired. Anyway, peace be with you. May God bless you and keep you safe. If your heart is heavy and your mind is full, take it to whatever higher power you believe in. Shoot, you could even take it to my God, and He's gonna care. He will help you bear those burdens. Amen.